you all for coming. Happy last meeting of the summer. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4 through 10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118 and Verizon Fios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Waddell?
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of the state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that the act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dunn is absent, so we'll go to Francisco.
Here.
Giordano.
Here.
Jodry.
Here.
Mazzone.
Here.
Slade.
Here.
Solokowski.
Here.
Venkatesan.
Here.
And Dantuno.
Here.
We have a quorum.
After the pledge, please remain standing. Can everyone please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance. Please remain standing. Move the Board of Education acknowledge the death of Rosellen Relly Leibowitz, a retired teacher, and Robert Lipp, former Board of Education president, and express its deepest sympathy to their family and friends. Thank you. Christina, can you read the Code of Ethics, please?
The board member will support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for the approval of minutes?
Jodry, a motion.
Ms. Olmos, second.
I'm taking Francisco on that one.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sore subject. Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatesan.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. We'll go to Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution 1 and 2 for approval of minutes passes.
Okay. Recognition, can I have a motion, please?
Ms. Owen,
Francisco.
motion.
Slater sec.
I'm taking Mazzone and Slade on that.
Any discussion?
Yes, we have several retirements. Janet Schuster, administration bookkeeper, 25 years. Deneen Alfano, Madison Park, resource room, 31 years, a total of 56 years. On behalf of the board, we wish you a great retirement.
Thank you. Whether she wants to know it or not, we have Janet Schuster is in the audience, actually, in the back there. So
okay.
thank you for joining us tonight, and congratulations, Janet.
Thank you for your service.
I worked with Janet with the Memorial PTA when we were trying to get something streamlined as far as budgetaries and donating to the district. So I know that was a lot of conversations between you and the PTA, and I thank you for your hard work and dedication to that, and as well as all the other. Would you like to take a picture? Can you come on up?
Yes.
Yeah, come on up, Janet.
Okay.
You put a lot of work into this district.
Why don't one of the board members get up?
Why don't Jen and I'll join her.
There you go. There you go. Very good.
And And I'm glad we took your picture. The teachers get a lot of recognition throughout their hard work, but, you know, the behind the scenes, the inner office, you know, you guys are very important to this district and help it run smoothly. So thank you all. All right. If no more discussion, we'll have roll call, please.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solakowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent, so Francisco.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution 1 for recognition passes. Congratulations to all.
For the superintendent's report, I have a report from HYA, our search firm. I am pleased to report that as of today, there are 32 applicants in the system, of which 28 have completed and submitted. Although we have been actively recruiting, the passive marketing efforts were just initiated. There's a link that was advertised at the launch yesterday, and I guess that link is on our website, I believe, right?
I was going to add some stuff when we get.
All right, so to date, well, I wasn't going to read the link, I guess is where I was at. To date, all non-conflicted board members have been interviewed and the 5 focus groups have been conducted. A total of 61 stakeholders have participated. On Thursday evening, so this Thursday, August 21st at 7 p.m. will be the first virtual town hall meeting. And just a reminder that they have recommended that board members do not participate as to not inhibit discussion or participation. The community survey is ready to go out live next week. So on the board website, there's a link to the Zoom. There's no password. It's just a live link, and their platform is like, oh, there is now a password? Okay. There wasn't when I had talked to Bill last week. But the platform that they have, or the account they have, holds over 500. So they're not worried about, you know, people not getting in. So that will be Thursday evening.
A
Okay.
quick question. You said that HYA has 5 focus groups?
5 focus groups have already been done. I think there's like 24, 28 focus groups.
There's 24 total. It might be more than 5 at this point. A lot are scheduled for next week. The 25th is teachers. I know the PTO, PTA, SEPTA, CPAG invite was sent out as well.
Was that sent
Principals.
out to all the PTAs?
Yes.
So every school got an invitation for that?
Today, yes, that was sent out this afternoon. So it might have been more than 5 completed to date so far. We do have 24 total scheduled. That included the 3 community events. That was the inclusion of the 8 non-conflicted board members. We have 1 potential that are still need to be scheduled, and it was really reserved for students. So we're going to be working that out somehow. In case students, we don't find a method for students to be involved, we have another group that we can, kind of cultivate and put out. But just to give some clarity on the township, or on the district website, there is a superintendent search page. There was not only is it on the home page, but a separate page. It gives all the participation information for the community events. Again, as Jen said, Thursday, August 21st at 7 o'clock, so this week, via Zoom. There is a meeting ID and passcode on the website. I believe you need you might not need the passcode, but I did put it there. And then the letter to the community. And just as a reminder, community event number 2 is next week, Wednesday, August 27th at 7 via Zoom. Again, meeting ID and passcode, as well as the letter to the community is posted. And community event number 3 is Thursday, September 11th, 7 o'clock p.m. in person here at the high school located in the cafeteria, and that letter to the community is available as well. We have shared out some information with OBTV, so the local programming should have the QR code that you can take a picture of and get those meetings. And we've been putting it on social media. My district X or Twitter page, my LinkedIn, has received, I think, thousands of impressions. So to that point, that's the superintendent search update. That's, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, community.
Okay.
So community survey. The community survey will be available for all community members to participate in starting on Monday the 25th. So on Monday the 25th, we'll probably put a blast out. We'll put something on our website. This is just another opportunity for anyone to participate with a few general questions that then once responses are generated or collected, they generate into a summary for HYA to then incorporate in their leadership profile. So the 25th will be available. The survey will be available for every community member to participate should they want. More information to follow on Monday.
Any further discussion on that? Okay. Progress towards goals. I know Sal's going to mention it during special committee reports, but the big focus is on the redistricting and the surveys and stuff for that. So we'll do that. Superintendent search update I just did for that during the report. Do we have any correspondence tonight?
We do have one correspondence. Thank you. All right. Good morning. My name is Pamela Ramos, and my son Logan will be a 7th grader at Carl Sandburg Middle School. I'm following up regarding the late buses for after-school sports and activities. This was discussed at a Board of Education meeting, but parents have not received any updates. Many families are eager to know if late buses will be reinstated or if other options are being considered. Several parents have even expressed willingness to contribute toward the cost. Could you please provide an update or let us know when a decision will be shared with parents? Thank you for your time and support. Sincerely, Pamela Ramos. That concludes correspondence, but I will just comment on it. So just obviously we know we had the meeting last year in regards to the late buses. The discussion going into the 25-26 budget, we all know our budget situation, but when we did the tax levy incentive aid application, we did include a modified version of after-school late busing for students. We put that as an item in the application. We put an expenditure towards it. The item was actually denied by the state in our application. So in their eyes, it didn't what we wrote or what they believed that doesn't cover thorough and efficient education. So the item was denied. However, as we learned, the denial of such expenditure just mean I had to reallocate the money into another account. So that being said, we're working through our own budget. We talked internally as a district. We talked to secondary principals, administrators. We talked to district administration. We are working right now through our budget process, talking with administrators and kind of giving and generating a modified return of after-school busing. We're working with transportation, obviously. We're trying to bring it back in some capacity, whether it's one day a week on the same day for everyone. We're working out those details, so something will be coming up soon to follow, and more information will come out on that. But technically, we did not have that item approved in our tax levy incentive aid application, but again, we understand it's a want from the community. Some of the board members here, one of their stipulations for going up the expenditure that we went up on the tax levy incentive aid was to make sure that late buses were introduced back in some capacity. So we were working together as an administrative team, both district and school level, with transportation to bring it back in some capacity, and more information will be followed up when we have those specifics.
Thank you. Special committee reports. Sal?
Nope, sure, I'll go first. Yeah, so as a reminder, the Long Range and Strategic Planning Committee meeting will be on October 15th at 7 p.m. tentatively in the administration building. But I hope we could get some emails of people that are coming, so we could probably move it to the cafeteria or have like a bigger audience, bigger capacity for people to have their voices heard. We will be going over redistricting. The superintendent search was probably going to be over by then, most of it, but that'll still be up for discussion as well. So we'd love for you to join, and I'll be reminding you again next month. This is plenty of time to put on your calendar and set yourself up to go. Thank you.
I have something that's not exactly committee, but it pertains to several of our committees. So I just wanted to read something that I wrote, and I wanted to say. As a member of the Board of Education, I wanted to address the concerns about the recent tax levy increase, reiterating part of what Jen said last week about one of the reasons for the fourth quarter taxes being so high was that our third quarter taxes were significantly underestimated. As a board member, voting to raise the tax levy to make up for only a portion of the catastrophic budget cuts imposed by the state to our schools was not an easy decision. And it is a decision that no board member ever wants to make. We live here with our families, and these choices affect us as much as anyone. Every single member of this board can attest that we've spent many hours over many months trying to avoid raising taxes while still protecting the quality of education our students deserve. This was not a choice between raising taxes or not raising taxes. This was a choice between funding our schools or allowing the state to step in to make millions of dollars in drastic cuts beyond our control, just as they did in Toms River and in Jackson. In 2017, the district already made deep cuts to programs, services, and staff, and there was simply nothing left to cut without devastating consequences. Voting no would have meant closing schools without demographic studies, eliminating full-day kindergarten, cutting academic intervention for struggling students, no junior varsity or freshman and middle school sports, no instrumental music, shortening the elementary school day, cutting middle school summer program, no guidance counselor support for summer programs, and even shortening the high school day to dismissal at 10:30 a.m. for every student at Old Bridge High School. Voting no would have meant no ROTC, no woodshop or cosmetology programs, and cutting AP courses. A no vote would have effectively put an end to programs like Play Unify, programs we fought so hard to bring to our students because they reflect the inclusive, supportive community we want for Old Bridge, and that was not an option for me. A no vote would have caused our home values to plummet because nobody wants to buy a house in a town with a decimated public school system. And let's not forget, if the majority of the board had voted no, the decision would have gone to the state, which historically has imposed the maximum tax increase, like I mentioned, in Toms River and Jackson, as well as arbitrarily closing some of their schools. In our case, in Old Bridge, the state forcing us to raise those taxes would have meant raising our taxes to $31 million instead of the $22 million that we approved. The decision was ultimately a vote to retain control over our schools. If the majority of the board would have voted no, the state would have stepped in, and we would have lost control and our ability to make decisions for our own students and community to the state of New Jersey. In the end, my vote was about preserving opportunities, programs, and support for our children. These decisions are never easy, but they must always put students first. When given the choice between bowing to political pressures or protecting our children, I will always unapologetically choose our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I wanted to speak a little bit about the tax conversation as well. I was going to do it later, but I think it's kind of fitting now since
Under finance, too.
yeah, we're here. So I too wanted to address the tax conversation. I'm glad though, Margie, that you brought up the fact that the blame lies with the state. And yes, and while I do agree with a lot of what you said, obviously I chose differently. I do wish that as a board, we came together and we tried to rally some other districts to fight the state on this, to go against the state, to possibly sue the state. And I know there's cost that comes with those things. I guess in, the ideal, floating in the clouds, pull Elena back down to earth, situation, like we could have just, I wish we would have tried a little harder, I guess. And I don't know what's going to happen this election season. I don't know what's going to happen with the school funding formula or what the future holds for us as a district with funding. But I would like to hopefully work together with other districts to see what we can do. Because I too don't want to see any of those things go away. But really what I wanted to talk about was a little bit more of what Jen addressed last week regarding some facts that she provided about the taxes and the categories of the taxes, but I just wanted to provide some context along with some of the facts that were shared. When I first saw some of the posts, and only because people send them to me because I just simply can't understand why everybody talks about these things on Facebook or on social media when they can simply pick up the phone or email all of us up here or each of the town council members and sit down one-on-one or in small groups to find out the actual information, because there's so much misinformation out there on social media. And when you get the average person who really isn't paying attention to the school board meetings and isn't paying attention to the council meetings, they read these posts and these comments and they're like, oh my goodness, this must be true. When simply it just isn't. I kind of feel like I'm in the twilight zone sometimes, because a lot of the same people who came to our meetings and begged us to raise taxes to, keep everything intact, our academics, our programs, are the same people that were complaining on Facebook that their taxes went up, but they're blaming the town council. So I'm trying to make it make sense. So what I did was I went and watched the presentation that the town council gave at their meeting last week. And I just kind of wanted to clarify the third quarter versus the fourth quarter bill. If you listen to the presentation, the reason that the third quarter bill was lower and estimated or predicted to be lower was because they were waiting on us to hear from the state to figure out if they were going to approve the budget or not. So they went a little low. And then once those numbers, when we got the go-ahead and the green light, and those numbers were approved, then it was like, okay, this is the accurate number that we need to charge people for their taxes, and some of the third fell into the fourth, which was unfortunate, but it wasn't anybody's fault. So I didn't, want the blame to go in a place where it didn't belong. I also wanted to just reiterate, and I know Jen gave these numbers last week, and when you're just listening, sometimes it's hard to follow, but if you look at the town council's presentation, all of these numbers are there. So if you're thinking of a pie chart and where your taxes go, county open space, 1%, not up to the town. Library, 2%, not up to the town. Fire district, 4%, not up to the town. County, 17%, it's not up to the town. What's up to the town is the municipal tax, which is 16% of that pie. And then the rest is us, which is 60% of your taxes come to us, to the schools. And we, as a board, not all of us, but we did, what's the word I'm looking for? Consensus, thank you, decided to raise taxes, and that's 60%. So of course that number is going to be a lot bigger. So they gave an example. If your taxes were $9,000 in 24, and they went up to like $9,900 in 25, out of that $900 increase, $728 belongs to the school board. So, when I say blame, and it's not really blaming us, we did what we thought was right. To blame the town council is unfair. It's not coming from them. They went up 1.58% of the 16% that makes up that pie chart. So I just want to present the facts and a little context, like I said, to go with it so that everybody understands. And I didn't understand why the blame was there when it's really here. And when I say blame, you know what I mean. And then I was going to bring it back to what Margie said, which was we all need to remember where the breadcrumbs lie here. And if you trace them back, it traces back to the state. None of us wanted to cut anything up here. Do I wish that we fought a little harder and did a little more? Yes, I do. But this all goes back to the state and not the council. So I just kind of wanted to make that clear. That's all. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing? When people say the 60%, I just want to clarify that in New Jersey, the majority of your taxes are going to go towards school anyway. So it's not like we raised it 60%. That's the portion of the tax that goes to schools that no matter what.
Right. I think that the increase for 25 was 13.87%, if I'm correct. And then the additional part of that shows up as quarter one and quarter two in 2026. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Reach out to us. Ask us. We're happy to sit down with anybody and answer questions instead of just, putting all kinds of misinformation on Facebook. Thank you.
If I may, I want a clarification. So I just want to see, back in May, the budget was due, let's see, the 21st, I believe. No, maybe the week before, the 14th. So we voted on the 13th of May and adopted on the 14th, I believe. So it was due. So on the following week, again, the way we proposed our budget, the way we were informed to adopt our budget was right in the resolution, which is still on our website, a proposed tax levy incentive aid. So again, when going up to 23, the way we had to certify our taxes, which were still statutorily due, the board did everything on our on time as well. We had to adopt a budget. We did so on time. We had to certify the taxes. We did so on time. What's called an A4F is signed by both myself and the township clerk. Both those documents, there's a statutory deadline to file those to the county, and then I believe the county passes on to the state. Both those were signed by both parties and submitted. So it wasn't waiting for us. I believe at that point, the reason that the township then waits for the state to give that final, or the county to give that final approval. So I don't want to say that they were waiting on us because we did everything on time the way it was. It was just now the state had to confirm and took their time, obviously, in approving that application, which was obviously a major increase in the taxes. But we did everything on time. They weren't waiting for us, per se, because everything was signed and certified and submitted by statutory deadline.
I would like to clarify too, I did not mean to at all, by any means, I'm so sorry, to insinuate that they were waiting on us, but they were waiting on the state because we were waiting on the state is
Correct. Yep.
what I meant by that.
Right,
So,
no problem.
yes.
The few questions I had regarding your statement is, I don't remember a conversation over like fighting or filing a lawsuit when we were talking budget. So I'm like, I'm a little, not taken back is too strong of a word, but I like wishing we had done more because I don't remember that being a conversation. Our numbers were not the only numbers that the state or that the township was waiting for. Other numbers they were also waiting for, but also the third quarter could have been estimated up to 5%, and the town chose not to go up to 5%. So I think the town had more control over some of the delivery than is being discussed. Anyone else?
I do. I actually just clarified this with Mr. Parton. Do you remember, we did speak about, I had asked Mr. Parton about filing a lawsuit against the state. And do you remember what you said? Why we didn't do it?
We talked at that time about the reactions that had happened in other districts, other full-sized S2 districts, and we talked about that it is the decision of the board, but there has been no evidence of success on that kind of an effort so far.
Right. So, I mean, the whole situation around the lawsuit was brought up, but at that time, we don't have the money to pay. Like you said, it was expensive as well to fight the state, correct?
Yes, it's a long haul, definitely.
Right. So that was brought up. Also, I requested a meeting, and I think it would be a good idea to do a public meeting with both the town council and the board. And I know Margie, I know you said you wanted to wait till after elections, and that's fine, but I do think that we should try to set that meeting up, have a public meeting with board members, town council. This way, everyone from the town can come and we can clear things up, and, you know, people can hear from both sides, and because I think there is a lot of miscommunication going around, and I do think that would clear a lot of people's questions.
Last week, I mentioned that the invitation from the town came for the meeting, and they wanted it at a date that I wasn't available, and they just said they'd be in touch. So I didn't turn down any dates. The board wasn't presented with any dates beyond myself and Elena as president and vice president, but that was the last we heard from the town on it, is that they would be in touch.
So then maybe we take the ball and we throw out some dates.
Well,
Try
we're
to
the
get
ones that
ball going.
initiated
Speaking
the
for
meeting.
myself, though,
And-
at least only for myself, I would not even entertain it until after the election day, because I want to remove any political discussion or conversation completely from that meeting on both sides.
And that's fine.
Rich also indicated the same.
Right, that's fine. I just think that we should have that meeting. I think it would be good for the public. I think it would be good for, obviously, everybody, because, like I said, it would clear things up that people have questions about.
Okay, here's the date I'm going to throw out. I'm available November 5th.
I'm thinking we should get a date on the calendar ASAP because we all know what happens. And it'll be June before we come up with something. So if we are aiming for after election day, which is fine, then maybe we should start.
What are we aiming for before or after election day? What kind of meeting?
To do an open meeting with the Board of Ed and the town council to go over the whole tax.
This is not the way we should play ping pong, guys. I'm really waiting for my turn. I think I like to talk as well now. I didn't think I'm going to talk today about this topic so early. But I think this is very important. I do have some notes to share. It's all again on the fiscal accountability. It's becoming a ping pong game as we all observe here, right? This is not exactly the way it should go. It should rather be right now pick a call and talk. We should be that comfortable with anybody to talk. We are elected officials, right? And so the township is elected officials, right? That's the kind of integrity we need to bring in. It's a taxpayer doesn't pay, hey, school, you go and run with this. Hey, town, go and look for the police and fire, run with this. Absolutely not. None of them, or most of them, or all of them do not even have this clarity that Elena was bringing up. Like 60% of the taxes goes here versus there. And we cannot say that, that we were late or they were late in putting the estimate one for the Q3 and then, Q4 is the right estimate. No, this is the communication issue. Mr. David, we all together here on the board did the right thing. And we have to literally wait. And even the township has to literally wait until something becomes official and stamped. How can they go and increase your Q3 taxes so high, right, beyond the normal what they can estimate? And then, you cannot do that business, right? So there is dependencies on each other. We have to clearly agree to that. But what I really realize is transparency to the, taxpayer is absolutely missing in this equation, right? And we need to come together. We need to be more integrated. I've been here 6 months, 8 months now. I really feel that through the budget process, we need to get the township involved, pretty ahead of the game. They need to get a clear visibility on what is being worked upon, maybe not for every single committee meeting, like the finance committee meeting, any such milestone meeting. Here are the milestones. I think when I went for the training with the NJSBA says, start your budgeting probably right now in September, right? Have a milestone meeting. Here is where we ended our fiscal, and here is how we are starting to budget. How do we collaborate? How do we integrate many of the things? I would really, why does NGSBA prescribe here is a formula or a method to the madness? Because many of these kind of boards and towns suffer on this, right? So we should kind of, learn from some of these things, be more integrated. And yes, long range planning is something which is happening. But again, fiscal accountability doesn't come with just, kicking off a program like long range planning and waiting for those, outcomes, maybe demographic details or infrastructure, worthiness or, reliability. This is not going to solve even for the next year. And I think Dr. Kathy also mentioned to this, she has seen some of this in the past. And just by doing LRP or long range planning is not going to solve this. I would say as a elected official, and so, much of here, and I would ask, Mr. Chris, is there a way we can bring in a motion that brings us this board more accountable? I'm happy to, vote for that. If there is any kind of a motion.
More accountable how? For what?
Yeah, for all of this, what we're talking. We cannot be ping-ponging about all of this. We need to become more accountable on getting into much more, finding ways to become more efficient, right? So the results are not the results. The 6-month exercise we did since probably January up until where we decided that we have to raise the taxes or the tax levy. The outcomes of our discussions pretty much summed up as we need to close 2 schools. I think, Majdi, you read it out, everything, right? We need to close 2 schools. We have to cut down our high school to half a day. Those are like drastic measures. But aren't we saying there are no other measures to bring efficiency in the school system? I would not buy that. 6 months I was learning, I was kind of, observing everything, right? But I think the time starts now. It is not to wait until December or a January or a February to really, get into the weeds of it. The motion I am looking for, if Mr. Chris, that's something workable, is how do we get a monthly accountability of efficiency, of how we bring efficiency to the system, and as part of this motion or however we want to play it, the school administration also is part and parcel of it, right? How do we bring accountability starting from September?
Don't we?
What you're describing would basically be achieved by, and if it's what the board wants to do, you could do a series of public finance committee of the whole meetings with obviously then the administration, central administration would be involved, and you could start that when the board decides you want to start that. The difficulty is that you are waiting for state aid numbers. So
That's
you would be dealing in contingencies at that point, certainly for the first couple of months if you started it in September. But you could, other than specific personnel information, you can choose to share with the public whatever you want to share with the public as a board.
okay.
And so I guess as far as pushing accountability and transparency on yourselves, if you chose to do that publicly, that is certainly something you could do.
Okay, so we don't have a motion or anything, just a finance committee meeting is more than enough.
It's a matter of scheduling. It's that
Scheduling,
simple.
okay.
And consensus for people to agree to be there.
Maybe that's what we should start doing, because we need to get more people involved into this to bring some method to the madness.
But
Right.
Karen, I have a
But don't we
question.
have-
I have a question for you. So we asked Mr. Waddell to give us a line-by-line budget, and we came together and we sat down and we went over the entire budget to try to find things to cut. You were there too. We couldn't come up with something that would
Yes.
actually equal the money that we needed.
Yes, we could not, right?
Right,
That's
so
exactly
I'm
why
not
we need to involve more
understanding.
people to give them more transparency of this information and the data.
But what's more transparent than a line-by-line budget?
That's
Like,
only visible to us. And I don't come from this education business, right? And I don't come from this accounting background, right? But there could be somebody, one of the taxpayers come forward to review the data for us. There could be a great educator who has solved some problems like this, can give us some inputs. Because see, end of the day, it's the same taxpayer. You're asking them to pay more taxes. So give them the opportunity, make this data more transparent and visible to them. Let them chime in and help out. If there is somebody questioning, why my taxes are going high, give them the opportunities to participate into the process. That's all I'm looking for. And us, taking more deep
I'm all
dives.
for transparency. I'm confused with the accountability because we, as representatives from the community, we were elected to represent them so that everyone didn't have to look at every piece of paper. They elected us to do that in their place. I've never seen a financial question from a community member that, wasn't answered by one of the administration, but we're given a bill list. We look at every bill that's written out. And so
Yeah.
that's your checking for efficiency. Is there money going where, it's not supposed to? There's been, 12 years of, or more of audits that have come back with no findings. Showing that the money's going where it's supposed to. There's not money being filtered places or missing money or, found money and, although found money would be nice for a change. But, I'm confused because are you saying that we as a district and as elected board members look at that bill list and we're not doing our jobs?
No, I'm not saying that.
What more accountability? We're given reports of the money that comes in and
Okay,
out of
two
the
parts.
district.
I'll answer you, right? I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying we're not doing our due diligence, or I'm not saying that we're not doing enough. Absolutely not, right? We're doing what best we could do. Like we all say the same thing. But what I mean by accountability is more towards bringing efficiency. Okay, maybe accountability not a right word. If apologies, if I'm not using the right word. But what I'm trying to get to is, we cannot continue to go by what is being suggested that I need to close 2 schools, I need to cut down some drastic measures or staff and whatnot, right? But how do we solve this problem otherwise? See, I cannot, Mr. Chris, I cannot wait for the state aid. I know right now what you're going to get next year. We know right now what we are going to work on next year. The numbers are
How do
already
you
there.
know? We didn't think we were told once we finished S2 that was our new plateau. We were done losing money. We lost another 3% this year. So we don't know the state aid.
No, we don't need to know. That's my point.
That's the biggest part of your income. How do you not know?
No, because I think what Kieran is trying to say is, okay, so after S2, we still lost another 3 million. That's just going to keep happening. So year after year, we keep raising taxes. At what point does that stop? What can we do different where we're not maybe cutting programs, cutting positions, but we're also saving money on other things?
Well, and that's what, aren't we doing that by going through this whole redistricting? Isn't that why we approved?
But he's saying
all
that's not
that
the
money?
only way to do it. Those
Let's
drastic
also try
measures
to
are not
become
the only
creative
thing.
and see if there are any other ways, or involve people, right, to suggest some other ways.
The redistricting meetings are open to the entire community. You don't have to have a student. You don't technically have to live in town.
Right.
Anybody is welcome to these redistricting meetings, and I don't know one of us that would push somebody away.
Yes, so redistricting
But
and
we need
long-range
to know-
plannings are for a purpose that is going to take us from year 1 to year 5 or year 10. But my suggestion here is that why don't we start one committee meeting, if it means a committee meeting to open up, just on this very topic. How do we give transparent visibility to the people on the budget and look at where we can gain efficiency. It is more about bringing some optimization and efficiency on how we spend, right? It is not about long range. Long range planning is we have a meeting, we are very transparent about it. We have to wait for the outcomes. Let's start that right from September. Don't have to wait for those sessions to happen in like February or a March. It's too late for getting people's inputs.
This board is committed to having these meetings regularly. September is a calendar hot mess.
Yeah.
Try fitting one meeting in September that, it's a lot. But we set the strategic planning in October, A, because we need the reports that are coming in that we spent money to get, but B, like, it's finance and redistricting. Like, that conversation can come. But, like, it's all part of where are we spending our money? Because if this building is, too old and not going to work and it's going to cost us more than we can afford to spend, that's what that report's going to show.
See, where I'm going, right, Jen, to others in the public, because I'm talking to people in the town as well, right? It's becoming like, this group is making those decisions, right? But at the same time,
As we were elected to do.
that doesn't mean, we cannot involve them
No,
in
they're
any of the
welcome to
process.
come any committee meeting.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Any committee meeting is very generic. LRP is very generic. Have a focused meeting if you want. Maybe let's start from September. We'll try to figure out a schedule only focused on how can we prevent increasing taxes for the next year. And there are ways we can work through this, right? Because we all know what's our baseline now. It's 180 million, Mr. Vidal, the baseline of this year. 179?
The tax levy is 154, 179. So we know that you'll be able to go 2% up.
Exactly. So we know a base. We can create a baseline out of it, right? And then we know what state aid we will get, 1%, 2% as a buffer. Anything more is a bonus. So my thought process here is consider that as your baseline to work with. How can we run this business with that minimum baseline? We should start working now towards it. And your LRP outcomes are again another bonus or accelerator towards that. So it could be a finance committee meeting, but the topics are strictly going to be more focused on this problem, how do we solve?
So if I can make
Right.
a suggestion,
Yeah, please.
on October 15th, we have a strategic planning, finance, and shared services meeting. Each one of those meetings is scheduled every month. So the next one is on November 11th, December 11th, January 8th, February 5th. They are all on the district website. Just for October, to see if the format works, possibly start the meeting with a 10-minute overview of current expenditures in relation to where we stand in the respective budget, whether that's Mr. Whitell attends all those meetings. So I had a colleague named Mr. Spidell, so sorry, Mr. Whitell.
It's a little bit of swag that comes with the Swido.
So start the meeting with a 10-minute overview of the budget. This way it gives not only the board, but also the public an overview and transparency of what, Mr. Vicatation is
Yeah, I would
requesting.
rather prefer to do in September one breakout session on just this topic with the public, right? Because much of this is within us. I think we do need to give, and October we can follow the same format if there is already monthly one's cadence, right? The 10-minute preview of how we spend is not going to be enough. And that's one opportunity the public gets to please come in forward and then participate, collaborate, contribute. It's more a focus session is what I suggest. I don't know, Mr. Chris, it has to be a motion to do that, or is it just we can go by that? Do I want-
The next question would be, if you want to do one in September, you need to match up a date.
Okay,
And
Mr.
that-
We'll-
that's all that really
You
remains.
can't do it on a night that has the open houses for school
Yeah,
and things like that. So that's why the September finance meeting didn't occur, because
Okay.
we felt as a board or as a district that the open house was more important than
Okay.
the finance meeting. Like middle school alone has 2 nights, 3 nights, 2 nights
okay.
for their open house. So when you're having all those different
Okay,
levels, it's not
understood.
that we were trying to avoid it in September.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a calendar.
Maybe we can expand that agenda to a little bit more than 10 minutes, 30 minutes or 1 hour open for discussion, and then,
That's all up to Mr. Giordano as the head of the Strategic Planning Finance Committee.
Yes,
So,
Yes, I did have something to add. To your point, Mr. Venkatesan, I think, especially for last year's budget, and this year's budget, where expenditures are concerned, we could release the entire line item list that we got as board members to the public while redacting the personnel members. Would that be possible, Mr. Parton, Mr. Waddell?
It would be legal to do it. As far as the logistics of it, I defer to Mr. Whiteout.
It would, that's the consensus of the board, and that is what we'll do. We'll have, I can talk to incoming district administrators to see, you know, Dr. Bragan, if he has any recommendations or suggestions as well. But if that's what the board informs me and directs me to do, that's what will be done. But again, the one thing with the line item budget is the budget is a blueprint. You know, when I put that budget together and it's adopted in May, you know, June comes, July comes, August. There's things that were not budgeted for and have to be accounted for and appropriated and expended already. So while there might be some things in there that are not in that line item budget that we have to continue and do. So just keep that in mind. But if that's the will and wish of the board, that is what we'll do.
Mr. Waddell will deliver to each one of your homes, and, right?
I have to say something because my heart rate on my phone as my watch is going off. Just a few, I want to piggyback on Elena, then I'll piggyback on Karen as well. I did watch the council meeting as well, and we got the message from the mayor as well. And what I got from that is that they were addressing more a reputational risk, not the risk itself. It wasn't us. We didn't do it. It was them down the block. I mean, there are parents on that council or parents who had children in the district, and I still don't get that harmony feeling that we're going to work together. Even on their slide presentation, the Board of Ed was bold as to we were the biggest. We know we're the biggest that raised the taxes. But I didn't get that warm and fuzzy feeling that we're going to work together. It's they did it down the block. They did it. They raised your taxes. I would love to work together with them. I just didn't get that feeling. And in reference to blame, yes, they were getting blamed for that whole tax assessment thing. It wasn't the blame for them for putting out the taxes because they made it very clear. They collect the taxes. They collect our money and then they distribute it. They collect the tax and they distribute it back to us. So that might have been an offset of the blame. They're not to blame, but I think they were more concerned about reputational risk than the risk itself. In reference to the budget, I would stand shoulder to shoulder with Mr. Wydell going to war with this guy. He knows his education business. We don't. And you stated that we're not in the education business. I mean, some board members asked for that line-by-line expense report. I'll try to keep my sarcasm, but we're not forensic accountants that were able to decipher what's strong and what's needed. So we went through that list, and the conclusion was that 80% of our expenses is for salaries and benefits. So we had 20% to work with, okay? And we all have employers that our health insurance went up, car insurance, homeowners insurance, the electric went up. We can't shut the lights. We can't pay the teachers less. We can't give them less health insurance. So everything went up 25%, which is what Mr. Wydell talked about. And we only have a 2% cap that we can raise taxes. I'm not an accountant, but you can't raise it 2% when you need 25%. So that's the issue. In reference to engaging the township, I'm not going to check some guy's credibility or his credentials if he's qualified to give us suggestions for the expenses. The reason being, if we cut ROTC, doesn't mean anything to me. My kids aren't, but it might affect that parent. Or the swim team, which I don't even think we have, but any cuts that we have, we do have a swim team? Okay. I didn't know that. So, you know, anybody who's going to come and speak up are only the people who are affected by those cuts. The late buses. My kids don't need a late bus. I go pick up my kids. But that affects a lot of people. That's a strength out there. So you can get a lot of input, but that whole expression that too many chefs spoiled the pot, you're going to get so much input. And I think it's great that we try to get them engaged, but as we were elected officials to represent the township, and we have differences of opinions, and some of us voted differently. I know there's been some criticism. I hate even using Facebook, but like we have to justify. No, I'm not gonna take yours. I'm not gonna take yours. Like we got to, I want to hear who voted for who voted for what. I voted yes for the budget. I wanted the 30 million because to get us back to adequacy. And I looked at the breakdown that Superman Wydell put together. He used big paper, and he broke down the columns, and he said, you raise it 10 million, 20 million, and we had to raise it at least 20 million to get the million from the state. So he gave us a breakdown. We've been doing this thing since February of this year. So we didn't do it overnight. We didn't do it in 2 weeks, 11:30 at night. I mean, ridiculous how much time we put into this. So some people who criticize that we just mailed it in, bull crap. It never happened. We took this very serious. And I voted because it broke down to $20 a week on the average of what the town assessed houses are. $20 a week. I know people say, not me, not you. I know my taxes went up maybe $800-900 for what my house is assessed for. That was a $20 a week investment towards education, towards house value. I was going to make that investment. Yes, I hear people talking about this lawsuit. I'm not an attorney. Mr. Parton is. He said it wasn't successful. I read somewhere that everybody has access to that Tom's River is going to sue, but the taxes still went up, and they're still paying illegal fees. So those are small, great suggestions, but nobody's really coming up with an answer.
Didn't he just claim bankruptcy?
They're trying to do that, something like that. But I mean, so not that we have to follow another township, but Elena came up with an idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, it's an idea. But the only way to cut expenses is we have to trim the fat. And that, I forget the expression about what type of education we're going to give them, the clear. No. We have to,
Thorough and efficient.
Thorough and efficient.
Thorough and efficient education we got to give them. So the bare minimums that we have to give our students is great, but we love to give the fringe benefits of what they have. And to cut expenses, that 20%, you got to trim the fat. And I don't want to step on Marjorie's toes, but she gave you a list of what we would lose if we didn't approve it and we didn't raise the taxes, And I'm not going to beat up the board members who said no, because they're not self-proclaimed heroes either. They're not walking around saying, look at me, I said no. That's great, and they did a great job with that. But the people that voted yes publicly for their taxes, we're getting beaten up. And I know it's election season. It's the witching hour and the pitchforks and the fires and the going up to Frankenstein's castle. It's that time of year. But the pointing of the fingers to just give our students exactly what they deserve is, I mean, you look at it this way, and I'll shut up in a second. What about the parents who have like older students who went through the system and got access to all that stuff? And now you got a middle school kid or an elementary kid who's not going to get that stuff. So the older kid got the sports and the wood shop but now your other child is not going to get it. And you're okay with that? I mean, for a small investment? So, I don't know. The township, I don't mind working together with them, but I hate the finger pointing. I do think, I like the transparency. I'm not going to ask a town person what they think, because I don't know the credibility. And again, they're not going to want to cut what works well for their kid. They want to keep things intact for what keeps their house whole. Am I done? Wait one thing. I heard the thing, lawsuits, the trimming of the fat, the 30, yeah. So either way, we're working well together. I don't want to cause a wrench in between all of us. We all have differences of opinion, but I'm proud of the tax increase. It sucks. I don't like to pay more, but I don't want to give my kids less. And I don't want my house to go down in value. My house is appraised at numbers I would never give myself for my house. But they're out there, and they're going to only maintain that because people move to a township because of the schools, plain and simple. Not Honeygrow, not ShopRite. They come here for that. Maybe Honeygrow, but that's it. That's all I got. Thank you very much. Bye.
I just want to make sure I say this well and right. This is nothing to do with what Mr. Vidal has helped us with, that long spreadsheets and whatnot. Very much helpful, right? There's nothing wrong I'm saying about any of the activity we did. But all I'm looking to see is how do we solve this problem, right? One of the ideas I really think of is involving people more. I know we are all elected officials. We could go only this far, right? But beyond that, what? Now we are having a stop sign and we cannot move forward. And the only option we get is increase the taxes. We are going to be in the same position My only fear is, forget about elections and all that, right? We are going to be in the same position come next year, again increasing taxes and sitting in this table, or we are probably going to get more people in here and throw us out, right? It's because our people is going to leave, right? So I'm more pushing us, how can we get ourselves ahead of the game, right? Involving more people, giving some more feedback, or participate and collaborate early on. They also need some time, right? If you call them, hey, there is a public meeting, happening in February or March, you have to come for this meeting to understand the budget. It's too late probably. And the second thing is expertise. Do we have enough expertise in this board, in this matter, right? Like, I'm not. I'll raise my hands right away, right? So that's something I do see that we are lacking, honestly. We all come from different walks of life. Yes, we have elected officials. We can look at line items. But how do we solve this problem? The long-range planning, to whomever we outsourced, they're going to give this bulk of a document and then they're going to leave. They're going to say probably, here is your phased approach that you can implement. It's going to probably take another few years. What about next year? We cannot be increasing the taxes. So all I'm looking for is a consensus among the board that let's start, maybe if October is the first session we can have, let's have it in October. But the important topic should be, here is our position. Yes, Mr. Vidal, I agree, it's a budget and it's a forecast, but at least give the transparency to people. What are the ways we can bring efficiency? I'm not saying drastically to cut anything. Every kid deserves, what they deserve. But efficiencies can come in different forms and shapes, right? And I'm not the expert in some of these areas. That's why I think, or if there is any consulting approach here, to get some consulting done from an outside firm. Now that you have raised this much taxes, let's spend some dollars to get some kind of a specialized service. If there is anything out there, I'm open to vote for it. Okay, thank you.
I'm all for sharing the numbers with the public and being transparent and having, a meeting to discuss the budget. But as far as like a specialist that, knows the numbers ins and out, I thought that's why we pay his salary.
No. It's not the specialist of
the other thing
Mr. Vidal.
is, like, let's have the meeting that you're discussing, but have the information, that we paid for as far as where we stand, because we know where we stand on what bills are coming in and what money and interest, but we need to know what money we have to spend down the road, what students are coming in the building. So I'm not saying not have the meeting. I don't want to have the meeting in September because A, the calendar's jam-packed, but B, I want the information. Let's have the presentation. And I'm not saying it only be on redistricting of this classroom goes here and there. No, it's part of the finance meeting. That's why it's put together under the same committee, because we as a board have said we want to have monthly meetings. We took the summer off, September's jam-packed, and now we're making sure those meetings happen on a monthly basis. It's a lot of the other committees are every other month. The finance and redistricting meeting is every month because, there was some board interest on having the redistricting done by the 26-27 school year. Others, so it's when can we have this all done and what's it going to impact our finances? Because that's what we have to do. We went up the 22 million hoping that that'll be enough to sustain it so that we don't have to go up again. That's why there was such a drastic cut. And we didn't say, oh, you know what, let's do 10 million. We'll cut 8 million in programs out and 10 million will be good for this year, because we knew that was we were going to have to go up again next year. Is there a chance we have to go up again next year? There's always a chance. But the goal, at least for my vote for going up to the 22 million, was that, okay, hopefully this is good and this will keep us afloat, because that's our new base. Hopefully that's, the state's the one that said, that you as a district didn't do X, Y, and Z, whether that's, our job, the town job. I'm not here to discuss that. But the state says, if you want these numbers, this is the work that has to be done. We do what we have to do as far as when the dates have to be done, balanced, what's approved, what's not approved, So have the special meeting, but let's not rush it just to have it. Let's get all of our ducks in a row so that we can have it. And then, like you said, do it before January. I don't think there's one board member that would say, no, I'm good till next year. That was it's one of our board goals, is to become more fiscally responsible and, trained on the budget. That was our goal, and that's what we're trying to do.
Actually, Jen, you brought up a good point, right? In the last, that's probably what I was intending to hit more and more. How do we make sure next year we sustain on this base and not go above the 2% cap, which we can, but not again go for ask for another 10%? How do we ensure that? How do we sustain? That's the point we need to start eating.
That's our conversation, yeah.
Yeah, that's the conversation I think we should have more publicly and involve more people. In fact, it will be great if we can go down in the expenses and bring some efficiency, but still, have that cap always as the base,
Well,
right?
and we talked about not only going down in expenses, but going up in income. How can we?
Whichever inflow or outflow reduction, right? Either ways, yeah.
Any other special committee reports?
No,
Just
but-
really quick, sorry. I do think this is why I suggested that meeting of both us and the town council. I don't think we should be blaming them. I don't think they should be blaming us. I think there's a lot that we have to understand as board members that maybe they don't. And I think there's a lot of things that go into the town budget that they understand and we don't. So I think it would be good to just sit down all together. We have to work together. And I think that's the only way is to get one big meeting going and opening up to the public. The problem with trying to get, a lot of our meetings are open to the public. It's people can't make it for whatever reason, but the problem is you have these self-proclaimed keyboard warriors that go back on Facebook that don't even attend the meetings, and they start drama. And then that's what causes division on the board, because it's like, oh, well, this one said this one voted no, this one voted yes. It's public. Who voted what? It shouldn't matter. At the end of the day, come to the meetings, voice your concern. This way, then we can make more of a better decision. But they'd rather not do that. So I just think that I think the meeting with the town would be beneficial to everyone. I don't see the difference of waiting before elections, after elections. To me, there should be no politics involved in it, period. It has to do with our taxes. It has nothing to do with red, blue, purple, white. It doesn't matter. But I definitely think that we should try to get a date on the board.
Christina, you're right, it shouldn't matter, but that's why having it after Election Day will ensure that politics is taken out of it completely and we can have a politically free conversation. The other thing is, every person that came to the public hearings, with the exception of 2 or 3 people, we had 2 public hearings, we had board meetings, everybody was overwhelmingly in support of not cutting programs and raising taxes. And you can rewatch all those meetings, they're all recorded. All the emails we got a few emails saying not to, but it was overwhelming support for not cutting programs and raising taxes.
Dave, I have a question. The fact that these last 2 years, they let us go above the 2% cap, right? Because 2% is the cap. So last year we went up and this year we went up. Isn't that the state telling us that they're handcuffing us by breaking the rules of letting us go above 2%?
Yeah, they're kind of passing the buck, but essentially you were permitted to go 2% on your tax levy plus any allowable adjustments,
Right.
usually
For
for an
health
increase of health care. Then the past 2 years, because everyone is hitting a fiscal cliff where that 2%, when it was done statutorily, that's kind of fell behind, and expenditures are increasing far more rapidly than that. So again, they're kind of passing the buck to say, hey, something is broken here.
Right.
We don't really have the fix. We're going to put these programs out, and it's on you guys to potentially fix it. And that's why, unfortunately, there is a lot of talk right now about, November, the election, and why, and what new governor can come and what may change in the formula. The problem, the issue is there's a big conversation on that formula. It's not an easy process to have. The more you give state aid to schools, the more you might take away from somewhere else, in whether it's seniors or community centers or whatever else. So there's a give and take, a push and a pull, no matter if it's the township, the board, the state, the U.S. federal government. So
And that's why I think it's an important thing that the public knows, that if the state is letting us go above the 2% mandate, they're sending the messages that they messed it up. The formula is so convoluted that the state is telling us that, yeah, go above the 2%, you pay for it now, and we're just being reactive. It's just, like Marjorie said, it's the state that puts us in this situation, causes division, but it's a political game, so.
On the theme of working together. I'd been asking the town to work with the school board since Matt was present. We met, Mr. Cittadino, myself, Mr. Wydell, Councilwoman Sohar, and the BA from the town all met in April. We're meeting again in September on ways to try and work together. So those meetings are trying to happen. I know one of the initiatives that the school did is during Senior Awards Night, we asked the entire town council to come and help present scholarships and things like that. So we're trying to get that ball rolling, but hopefully we can have some more positive conversation. Anything else on special committees?
Yes. So I know that everybody wants this conversation to end and for all of us to stop talking, but this is exactly what a board meeting is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be us having all these discussions in front of the public so that there is transparency and that everybody knows what we're thinking and how we feel, because sometimes people complain, this one doesn't talk, this one didn't give, his or her opinion on something. So, I mean, while it's time consuming, I think the discussion is good. There was a couple points I just feel the need to touch on, and Christine, I completely agree with you. I think that the meeting is really key. I don't see the need to wait. I understand that you do, Margie, and some others do, to wait till after the election. It's a discussion. I don't really think that, if you're talking about politics, there's people from both sides and both groups, and I just kind of feel like the quicker we move forward, the better it is for our community. And I wanted to touch on, Jay, something that you said, and Jen, something that you said last week about the way that the township, that the council presented the information with the bolded information. I mean, I didn't create it. I didn't talk to anybody about it or why, but I'm thinking if I'm, or my group or whatever, or us as a board is being kind of like blamed or accused of something, they're already on the defensive. So they're creating these documents for to give factual information. And I'd like to think it was bolded because it's the largest amount. And it was really what, if people are going to blame the increase on it, it's really here, again, going directly back to the state.
But why do we have to blame anybody?
Well, they're already on the defensive. I mean, because misinformation, because people are on Facebook spewing misinformation, and it's very frustrating.
But if we do what's right
Very
and not do what
frustrating.
Facebook tells us to do, like, listen, your grocery bill went up because eggs went up. Doesn't mean eggs are bolded on your receipt. Costs went up. The
Right, but
numbers
not
are there.
every-
No one's lying about the numbers, but I do think bolding it was a little bit of a finger point.
I completely disagree, so I just felt the need to say that.
I
because
think that's
there's two
exactly where the
sides to it.
transparency is missing, right? And the communication failure, right? We here in the board approved the increase and then we just moved on. But then, the gap in the communications is from here on reaching the taxpayer is the gap, right? And then, when they finally raised the taxes to support the schools, right, for the Q4, then everybody woke up to that, right? So that's the gap we have, right? When we got approved, do we have any mechanism? How do we transmit this information? See,
It's
if
on
you,
our website. We had multiple meetings.
that's not enough, because all the Facebook people, right, they don't go to your Old Bridge website to see who what did. Yeah, I mean, what else?
But you would
No,
rather,
when I say Facebook people, including me, I'm on Facebook too, right?
You'd
So
rather
I'm
our
not pointing at
tax
anybody
budget
specific.
increase on Facebook rather than the website. The website
can
is ours, where we own and where we share information. I'm sorry, you're right.
No,
You were
I know,
talking,
and that's why, like, the point of order is here, and I'm not, exactly. We should read the Roberts rules again, and I do feel, Jen, that you're kind of jumping in a little bit, like on what everybody's saying, and maybe that is your right as the president. I don't know, but I just think that we need to move forward. Like, we can go tit for tat, we can go back and forth all day long. We need to move forward, and we need to move forward together. So I think that trying to get a meeting together is the best that we can do at this point, and bringing people together and continue to having these discussions. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has anything that they want
No,
to
I just
say,
want to add
but
one more thing, right?
I
If-
wanted to say something just to end this on a positive note. When
Sure, yeah. See, if you look at the presentation that the township put out, right, school is considered as another entity altogether, right? County agreed, it's a different entity. And the open space tax, that's another entity. Municipal tax, school tax, I don't think the taxpayers look at as two different things. People who are living here pay taxes. And these taxes are for our internal consumption, fire or water or whatever it is, right? Roads or schools. The common taxpayer looks at all of this as one entity. So we should together come up with how do we integrate this information more seamlessly. If next year we are going to publish a presentation like this, if I were in all of your positions, I would rather add one more slide. Here is why the school tax has increased, and here is the details. That level of information we need to disseminate. It is not about bold versus not bold or any of that. Information is not being spread evenly and more effectively, across the layers that we have, right? Because there are certain layers, and we need to work through those layers. That's something I think we should work towards, and I definitely encourage. I know we have some liaisonship with the township, but I think we need to improve that liaisonship, and we need to make them part of the process as well, so they become more aware. And as one Woolbridge township, we can disseminate more information, because I see information posted by the township, let's say in Facebook, or let us say in the all over Woolbridge or whatever newspapers they have. So many places information is being spread, but we
fruit flies are all over.
Fighting fruit flies, and it's so frustrating.
I really apologize for interrupting, Karen. I'm sorry. I did get it though.
So I think we have to look at how else we can. So my point is, we need to look at how else we can share all this information, right? More than one channels. Yes, we have our own OBPS communication channels. What's wrong about sharing any of this through OBPS? Hey, here is how your taxes that has increased is going to be forecasted or being spent. We always post great information about all the successes we have, right? But this is a critical point of information. We cannot tell, hey, just for this information, go to the website. Right? We have a good medium of communication already. Why can't we post this information, why the tax is raised, and why the 60% of the property tax is raised, and why can't we give the same material that Marjorie read just now? We don't do that. That's why the township is put on spot. All of a sudden somebody observes that your taxes has raised. So all I'm trying to say again, Jen, is we as a board, we need to come together to improve our communications, and that brings transparency. I'm not saying we are not transparent. That brings transparency, communication.
I'm going to drive around town with a bullhorn and just let everybody know. Because, listen, I commend that, but I think her point is people only take a peek at things when it affects them. So late buses, if your kid's stuck at the field, they come. The taxes, all of a sudden, now they woke up. We've had a crap load of budget meetings. It's out there. So other than knocking on someone's door, I don't know. And I get it. How much more could you do? And those little planes during the beach instead of going to like the tiki bar. I do read them too. So what? We raised your taxes over the beach. I don't know. So.
Elena had a positive note, so we're gonna.
So Jay called Mr. Wydell Superman Wydell, right? So Dr. Toohey said Swidell. So that is totally now your new name. You're going to be Mr. Swidell, which is short for Superman Wydell. Okay? There we go.
That's big shoes to fill.
All right. On that note, we're going to open up the mic and have hearing of the residents on any agenda item.
I really wasn't planning on speaking, but you all far exceeded your 3 minutes, so I'm going to take mine.
Did you sign in?
I will. Does this count when it's my 3? So first, if you can provide just, I know you had a policy meeting before the meeting, so before the policies weren't on the website, so if you could just give a little update on some of those policies and on that meeting when we get to that part of the meeting. And then on taxes and the budget, since that's how we spent a lot of time just now, I want to thank Jen, Marjorie, Jay for providing some clarity on what happened over the last few months. Just to clarify, taxes were not raised 60%. That wasn't, that's, I know we're 60% of the total taxes. And aid is not known now for next year, especially because we'll have a new governor at this point next year, or when doing the budget, so that something could change there. And just a note about being 60% of the budget, being a large percent of the budget. As the Board of Education, you are the largest employer in the township. You have the most work sites in the township. So I would expect that your budget, you employ more teachers, I think, in the high school than the township employs total, probably. And over the last 7, 8, 9 years, however long it's been, I think we've done a lot of fighting, a lot of going to Trenton, making phone calls, meetings, whatever it may be. I'm willing to do more still. So if if enough hasn't been done, let us know what more you want to do, and I'm on board to continue fighting. If you want to sue the state, Mrs. Francisco, you're very familiar with making new business items. Go ahead, do that tonight. I'm curious though, are you doing this to benefit the town council or schools or students on our staff? I think I know the answer based on your vote on the budget, but if you can clarify that.
All right. Seeing no one else, I will close the hearing of the residents.
So can I respond? No. Is this where I respond or no? Mr. Burns, like, no, just don't. I just wanted to clarify. I never said that we raise taxes 60%. I said that we make up 60% of the budget, and nobody is arguing that we shouldn't be the largest, I guess, pulling in of taxes, because we do a lot in this town. And I didn't say any of those things. So.
Okay. So for policy,
Mr. Parn, do you want to touch on the policy? Quick summary?
Yeah, just really, truly briefly. I'll put the 3-minute timer on myself. We did 10 policies and regulations that are updated based upon updates in the accountability regulations. They are not substantive changes. They're talking about procurement, professional services, and board operations. They are all going to be on the website like all other policies. There are, as I said, are no meaningful changes to those. There is a clarification of board member election and appointment, which is also a matter of state law and has not changed. It's just an update to the policy. There is a new Pay Transparency Act in New Jersey now, and there is a policy that has been adopted to reflect that. It just says that when a job posting goes up, employers, including public employers, including boards of education, need to post information about compensation and benefits that go with that. So that will be a new policy. There are some COVID policies that are being abolished as moot, and there is a new policy updating the curricular requirements, which has not changed. It is just being updated to include everything that is in state law at this point. There could be developments, given what we've all been hearing from the federal level, in the future, but not yet on that issue. And lastly, there is a new state law about student sun protection, and there is a requirement that we have a policy on that. That policy will, in Old Bridge, be largely left to the parents. There is the ability for students to use sun protection in school events, but how they do that and in what form will be a decision made at home, subject to appropriate behavior in doing it here at school. And that's everything we discussed in policy.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parn.
Any other discussion? Did you get it? Little fruit flies. Any other discussion on policy? Okay. Moving on to curriculum. Can I have a motion, please?
Jody will move it.
Francisco will second.
Any discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mazone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn is absent, Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Motion, resolutions 1 through 4 for curriculum and professional development passes.
Finance, items 1 through 16. Can I have a motion, please?
Giordano will move finance items 1 through 16, Madam President.
And a second?
Ms. Owen will second moving.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Slade,
Yes.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn is absent, Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazone,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 16 for finance passes.
Athletics, item 1 and 2. Can I have a motion, please?
Ms. Owen motion.
Francisco will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn is absent, Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 for athletics passes.
Non-certificated personnel office, items 1. Can I have a motion, please?
Ms. Owen motion.
Jody will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution 1 for non-certificated personnel office passes.
Okay, we do not have non-certificated personnel operational, so we'll move over to non-certificated personnel other, items 1 through 3. Can I have a motion, please?
Giordano motion.
Francisco will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 3 for non-certificated personnel other passes.
Certificated personnel, items 1 through 24. Can I have a motion, please?
Ms. Owen motion.
Second, please.
Francisco will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Francisco.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 to 24 for certificated personnel passes.
Do we
Not-
have any of the newly hired employees in here today?
Come on.
Oh, come on up. Oh,
Yay. I'm
she's been
sorry.
patiently waiting.
Come on up. What's your name? Raina, and where are you going? She's going to Glen. Thank you, Raina. Come on up. Wait, we're going to take your picture. Yeah.
Jodry, you come.
Thank you. Congratulations. Welcome to Old Bridge. Okay. Non-certificated personnel transportations, items 1 through 6. Can I have a motion, please?
Ms. Owen motion.
Slade will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6 for non-certificated personnel transportation passes.
Transportations, items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion, please?
Francisco will move.
Jody will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 for transportation passes.
Supplies, equipment, and services, items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion, please?
Jody will move it.
Ms. Owen will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 for supplies, equipment, and services passes.
Miscellaneous, items 1 through 6. Can I have a motion, please?
Francisco will move.
Venkatason will second.
Were you seconding, Karen, or you were asking for a second?
Kieran got it.
Okay.
I'll
Second
I-
from Kieran.
Sorry. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatason.
Yes.
Dunn is absent. Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
And Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6 for miscellaneous passes.
Okay. Is there any board secretary and board business?
None to note tonight.
Okay. Hearing of the residents on any district item.
Brooke Richards Patterson. I just, and it might be kind of all over the place because I always take notes when you guys are talking. A couple things. Dr. Bragan, is he going to be part of the chain of command? Because I have, obviously, he's still kind of integrating from where he is to here, and just wanted to kind of know. I know they touched on chain of command in the last meeting, so I just wanted to know the answer to that. The late buses, I know you're working on a modified return, but is there an alternative if funds don't work out? Because we're already past the funding part. We already know that the challenging decisions, you know, having to cut that, but we had a giant meeting about this with parents involved and giving suggestions. We're going to take any like pay to play, right? An alternative if this whole budget thing doesn't work out. All I keep writing down multiple times is long-range planning. To piggyback on what Mr. Vagatesis is talking about is transparency, right? We're paying, what, another $8,000 increase in real time? Let's send out some alerts with that $8,000 and ask parents about this stuff. Make it known to them. And just even stakeholders in general. I mean, because this is not just impacting us. And to Mr. Slade's point, my kids are 10 years apart, so I know exactly what you're talking about as far as a difference. I even touched on that in Trenton. My daughter was in this, medical program in high school that got her to nursing school. My son's not going to see that. He's not going to see it. But we're also should be talking about long range. We know the health care benefits are going to go up 26%. For our faculty members. So again, long-range planning, we should start now. We could start by asking the departments, right? We could ask each department, hey, so-and-so, this is the percentage we're going to need to meet this amount. Talk to your respective members and give me a priority list. Let them have a say, and then if we just assume we're going to lose money next year, and then if we're lucky and we happen to get some funding, then hey, here's back, the more important stuff. Ask the parents, how about shop some vendors? Is real time going up $8,000? Well, that's a lot of money for 1 year to go up. So that's what just I keep hearing is, and then the shifting of the blame. You guys do have meetings the same dates as the council. I try to make them too because I like to be involved and I like to know what's going on, and they're almost identical, the meetings. So I think also you probably shouldn't be bashing them on your platform if you want to actually work together. One of them used to be a Board of Ed member, and she said at actually last week's meeting that she knew about these S2 cuts from when she was on the board. Where's the long range plan then? So it is. I feel for you guys because they're difficult, challenging decisions, but you need a long range plan. It's time to start. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? All right, Marie Wicks. I mentioned him several times. Long timer of Old Bridge, almost 50 plus years. So in regards to what Kieran mentioned about transparency, being here so many years, buying my parents' house, I actually had to look up what estimate taxes were. Even had to call my mom like a little child, like, what is this? Where did it come from? Now, as a single mom, I had to figure out my budget. So when I put out an explanation for those who are not on Facebook, it was understanding where it came from, how it came to be. But again, I did it in a way that was not blaming anybody. It was just understanding where it came from. Now, in regards to working with Township Council, again, been here so long, going back to last time our town was evaluated was 1989. So again, working with 1990 funding in order to support a 2025 education system. So I'm glad that you guys are pushing to try to meet with them. I'm hoping it can, connect finally, because as I look at the different equations and formulas, a lot of it is in like so many different pockets that without a connection it's not going to work. So like currently if you look at the, what is it called? The equalization table county of Middlesex for the year 2025. Old Bridge is still labeled as 3.8 billion. Technically our true value is supposed to be 12.4 billion. Then when you look at the difference of 8.6 billion, it equates to $30 million missing in the adequacy fund. So when that was said and they're like, oh, you got to raise the taxes, I know a lot of people got upset. Again, long timer, So our taxes barely move like for the last 30 plus years. So when $600 was offered to $800 to pay for a 2025 budget, I took it versus what's going to look like for my assessment in the coming year. Now, with that being said, in regards to the ratio of taxes, we have 25 cities in Middlesex County. 21 of them all have between 50 to 60% for ratio for schools. So when Township Council talked about the increase, technically it was 2%, 58 from last year to this year. And then when you look at the towns that actually pay less taxes than us, we're talking about towns like Carteret, Jamesburg, New Brunswick, Perth Amboy, South Plainfield, South River, South Amboy. When you look at the towns that pay 2,000 plus, you're talking about East Brunswick and Marlborough. And if anybody knows about taxes, they're start off at 13,000. So for like the average of 8.9 thousand in Old Bridge, we're getting their education. So hopefully it'll start to relate to people that technically it wasn't that bad for 600 to 800 versus what'll come later or versus what other towns pay. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm closing on the mic. Any of the board have any old business? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
To Ms. Richards-Patterson's question, Dr. Bragan will be the top of the chain of command below the Board of Education. His position as interim refers only to time. As far as authority and capacity goes, he is the superintendent of schools while he's here. So yes, he will be in the chain of command.
Old business, right?
So, yes.
Okay. Okay. So, going back to the whole budget discussion, I think kind of what we came to a consensus too is we want to release those line items without, letting out any staff members, any personnel. That way, anyone in the town can see exactly where the money's going, and they could make their decision whether we made the right decision voting yes or no. And I have to stress, other people brought up how we reach out to the community months ago. I asked everyone to participate so there would be no misinterpretation of the votes. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is that people are now reacting now when they should have been reacting before, but there's a lot of time to reach out to me by email, and we'll be doing what we can. We're going to continue working on the budget as the years go on. We're going to keep fighting. I'm sure we're going to be involved. The NJEA is very involved in deciding who the next governor is with contributions, so I know they'll be involved too. We'll be involved in any way we can, so please reach out to us and we'll see what we can do. And under new business, I'm going to mention some tax forms that people could file for property tax relief. So
Anyone else have old business?
yeah, it's going to be new business.
I do. I just have a response to Mr. Lewis's comment, and that's the exact divisiveness within the community that we were talking about. When the president of the teachers union gets up and calls out Board of Ed members on how they vote, insinuating the ones that voted no basically don't care, that's the comments that go on Facebook and pin one side against the other. And being a leader of the union, you're supposed to be bringing the community together instead of causing that divisiveness. So, thanks.
Any other old business? Okay, moving on to new business. So,
Okay, I'll go first. So, New Jersey Anchor, if you occupied your home on October 1st, 2024, which most of us have, and your income is less than $250,000, you can apply for property tax relief. The New Jersey Senior Freeze is for those 65 or older, and it's those same conditions. And Stay NJ, if you're 65 or older, 50% of your property tax will be rebated up to $6,500 for anyone with incomes less than $500,000. And the forms that cover all three of those are PAS-1 and ANC-1. That's the property tax relief application. The deadline is October 31st, 2025. If anyone needs help assisting, I will guide them through it. Please reach out to me. Thank you very much. And good luck to the students going into the next school year. That's it. Good luck. Thank you.
anyone else have new business? I have a question from a community member, Mr. Riddell. They wanted to know if the shared service agreements are available to see online.
They are not posted online. They may be operable. I believe that the security is not being the nature of the
Correct.
contract.
With the exception of the security shared services agreement, all other shared services agreement are public documents.
Correct.
Okay, so,
They are not specifically posted, but upon request, they can be provided,
okay, thank you.
besides the security.
Any other new business? Okay. To echo what Sal said, welcome to all staff and students coming back. Safe driving for our bus drivers. Thank you for taking care of our little ones. And we hope everyone has a great school year. And we need a motion to go into executive session.
Ms. Owen, motion.
Francisco will second.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a safe drive home. Enjoy your last few weeks of summer.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Zone.